Hello again and good morning. It's Phil Thatch and yet again I am at Harrison Bay State Park. I just love this place. You know, I was really wanting to do some waterfall photography. I haven't done any waterfall photography in a few months, and I haven't done any waterfall photography with my new Canon setup. So I'm kind of wanting to get into some of that. But to do waterfall photography, you have to have rain. And so I'm doing bird photography, and there is a bird. So let me get to that. Well, I did not get that bird. I've kind of been struggling so far this morning, but I did run across a couple of deer near the ranger residence, and I took my 800 f11 off and put the 100 to 500 on, because that's a better focal length for large wildlife like a deer. And I don't know, I got a few shots, but I don't know how happy I am with them. I'll show you those now. I only got one photograph of the deer there at the ranger residence that I really liked, and this is it. And this photograph kind of reminds me of a giraffe. The deer has its neck stretched out really long and is trying to feed off some leaves above it. And this is the only photograph in the entire video with the 100 to 500. All the rest are with the 800 f11. But over here at this trail near this it's not exactly an island, but it's just like a peninsula sticking out. But there's water all the way around it, and there's a hiking trail. And I heard as I was driving, there's a loop right here. And as I was driving around that loop, I heard a pileated woodpecker over here. So my chances of actually getting a shot of it in this dense forest are really, really slim. But maybe I'll hear it and see it and get a shot. Now, another thing that's different about today, you know, I've been using this 800mm f11 lens, and it's been doing really pretty good. I've had pretty good luck with it. It's, you know, the difficulty level is not 0. It's, you know, it's on up there, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I've had some success with it. But today it is fully 100% overcast, which is usually when I like to do wildlife photography, because you don't have to worry about you know, which way where the sun is in the sky to get a decent photograph. I mean, it's better if the sun's behind you, but it doesn't matter as much as on a fully sunny day. But we're playing with f11, so, you know, I need all the light I can get with an f11 lens. So we'll see. Back to work. Well, that was fun. I ran across a couple of brown thrashers, and I was able to get relatively close to them with the 800 f11. And even in this, you know, it's fully overcast and I'm in relatively dense forest, but I think I was able to get a couple of pretty decent shots. I try not to go with this lens below 1/250th because it's so easy to get motion blur. There's another brown thrasher up there. This is the brown thrasher zone. Back to work. Okay, here is a brown thrasher photograph, and this is at 1/250th of a second. And you would think with an 800mm lens, you would need to go at least 1/800th of a second. And I personally like 1/1000th with this lens. But at 1/250th, that's kind of the lowest that I've found that I can go and have relatively decent photos without motion blur. Now, there's probably a little bit of motion blur in these, but not a whole lot. And here's the brown thrasher, and you can see particles flying up in the air where it's been thrashing, as its name suggests. And here's another brown thrasher. There was a pair there, and this one is, I think, the other one, not the one that's in the first two photographs, and this one was up in a tree. I love those beautiful yellow eyes. When you're at Harrison Bay State Park, you have to get at least one obligatory squirrel photograph, because that place is absolutely full of squirrels. Today I probably got more than the obligatory shot, but I like all the ones I'll be sharing with you. A lot of fun walking around this peninsula. It was really all about brown thrashers. I never did see a pileated. I put the call through my phone a couple times, never did see it, never did hear it again. I did see a downy woodpecker, but it was from a long way away. That's a pine warbler there, which I'm hoping will get a little bit closer. But so far I've only gotten one mediocre picture, but I did run across also some fledglings, some babies, some really, really young brown thrashers, and I got a picture or two of those. So it's been a brown thrasher morning so far. Okay, look at this cute young brown thrasher, and it has a little bit more light on it than my last few shots. I'm staying at 1/250th, which is where I've found is kind of the minimum shutter speed I can get away with on this lens. But these photos are at 5000 and 8000 ISO. The ones in the previous bunch were mostly around 10,000 ISO. But look how cute the young fledgling brown thrasher is, and they have blue eyes, where the adult brown thrashers have beautiful yellow eyes, as noted in the photographs earlier in this video. It was a lot of fun photographing this young fledgling brown thrasher. Now here is the pine warbler photograph, and this one I ran through Gigapixel AI, Topaz Gigapixel AI, and I increased its size by 1.2, and then I ran it through Topaz Denoise to present this photograph as you see it now. Well, that was somewhat of a success. Once I figured out what bird it was, I finally saw that it was a prairie warbler. I knew it, I played the prothonotary warbler call because it's similar to it, but it wasn't exactly the same. So now I've kind of learned another call, and I'm able to pull it up on my phone, and it brought the bird right in. Now, it kept going way up high, like in that tree, where is it? Right in there. And so it's very, very backlit. So I don't think I got any great photos, but it was still a fun experience shooting prairie warblers with the 800 f11 in pitiful light. Here is the pine warbler up in the tree looking absolutely beautiful, and this is a neat time to point out the absolutely beautiful and almost magical backgrounds that you can get when you're making photographs with that ridiculously inexpensive Canon 800mm f11, and look at the beautiful backgrounds lens. It's $899 in the US, and it just works. Now, it's a little bit more difficult to use than some of the more expensive lenses, but man, if you work hard with it, the results can be pretty spectacular. Here's the pine warbler as it's actually singing and making its song. And then, whoa, it's more obligatory squirrel photography there. And this is on a concrete picnic table near the area where I was making the pine warbler photographs. And I love the background in this. And then I scooted up a little bit closer, and the squirrel just started kind of chilling out there on the concrete table. I don't know if it was laying on the concrete table to cool down, but look at the beautiful background and look at the beautiful eyes. All this with an $899 lens. Now this is in a slightly different area, and it's a different squirrel, and it's enjoying a snack there. And this one, the background is nowhere near as beautiful because it's directly behind the squirrel. You need the background to be a little bit further away. I came back to this field right over here, very bright and sunny now. The clouds have cleared for the most part. I came back there to do some photography because 2 weeks ago when I was here, there were tons of eastern kingbird. Today, none. Isn't that funny? And I did manage to get one song sparrow photo while I was over in the field, and I saw a couple of deer, which I had probably the wrong lens on for deer. I had the 800 where I would have preferred the 100 to 500, but I couldn't get very close to them. They were really jumpy and easily spooked. So maybe the 800 was the best lens. I don't think I got any good pictures of the deer. Probably the only good picture I got while I hung around in this field was of a song sparrow. But I was happy to get it because this week's Thursday adventure has not been nearly as productive as 2 weeks ago was. But I'm still having a great time out here sweating and making photographs. It's funny how sometimes when you're out working with the camera, you think you're not doing any good, and you get home and you look at your pictures and you think, wow, I did pretty good. And here is an example of that. I didn't think I got any deer photos that I would like from that field, and I ended up coming home with two. The previous one was pretty nice indeed, and I think this one is another example of the magical qualities that you can get in the backgrounds with that 800 f11 lens. And here is the chipping sparrow, which for some reason I kept calling a song sparrow, but I knew it was a chipping sparrow. and it's pretty beautiful as well. And this one, I'm all the way up to 1/1000th of a second, and that's where I like to be with that lens. But you have to have a lot of light to go there. Well, just when I thought the light was getting too harsh and the birds were probably going to hide from me for the rest of the day, I decided to come on down. There's a loop here that goes around this little field, and at the end of the driving loop is the fishing pier. And I like to drive around here sometimes. Usually I don't find too much, but sometimes I do. And today I came driving through here, and I'll be doggone if the red-headed woodpeckers, which this place is kind of known for, and I haven't really seen too much of today. There was one that was kind of, you know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trees back there in this field, and one was just flying from tree to tree. And I kind of followed it around, and occasionally I was able to get a decent shot. I don't know how many good shots I got, but I definitely got at least one. So let's take a look at that. I was so happy to finally get a photograph of a red-headed woodpecker. You know, the Harrison Bay State Park is really known for red-headed woodpeckers, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. And I hadn't gotten one all day, and I was almost done, and suddenly I'm starting to get red-headed woodpecker photographs. I only got a couple that I thought were good enough to share with you, and Heather helped me with the edit. She had me increase the luminance of the red channel in the colors, and I thought it turned out really nice. Okay, so I have been working with the 800 f11 for a long time today, and this morning it was really overcast, and the eye detect, animal eye detect focus was not working too good. But now that it's sunny, it works pretty good. And you know, like I say, I have my second button, my second focus button, the asterisk button. I have it set up to do single point. So when the eye detect doesn't work good, single point, even in low light, can draw it right in. It's good to have 2 focus buttons. Canon was really, they really designed the camera well. My favorite thing about this lens, though, is it is light as a feather. I mean, it's 2.5 pounds or a little bit more than 2.5 pounds, but it's just such a refreshing change to have a long telephoto lens that is so amazingly light. I mean, it's not as good as some of the heavier lenses I've had in the past, but it's just fantastic and way more usable because it's so light and easy to carry. I left Harrison Bay State Park and went over to Island Cove Marina, which is only about 3 or 4 miles away. I thought I would try to get some photographs of some swallows, which are abundant there, but I didn't really have too much luck. I did get a photograph of an American coot. All right, here is the American coot photograph that I made there at Harrison Bay State Park. And if you look closely in the shadow at the back of the bird, you can see its huge feet, which help it to swim quickly, and it almost walks on the water when it takes off. And I also love their amazing red eyes. And then I came on home. So I guess we'll call it a video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. If you like the content, a thumbs up is always appreciated. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.